What's up? How you doing? Here we are. Beautiful day, Thursday, almost the end of the week. Very nice. Feels like school is going to begin, high school. Not for me, but it's already begun, but it's got that fall feeling in the air. A little breeze going by. Smells nice, refreshing. I'm gonna take a little gander around here. A little gander. See what's going on. Maybe you can't hear them, but there's a lot of birds chirping here. This is like the opposite of the San Andreas fault line. When I go there, you don't hear anything. There's no birds, nothing. Just quietness. It's a good place to bring a cot or a mattress, one of those inflatable ones. Nice blanket, in case it gets a little chilly, and take a nap. Wake up like an hour later. There's nothing going on in there, very quiet. But here, I can hear chirping, birds. I'm a big fan of barbershops. The older, the better. I like going into places that have been around for like 50 years. Old guy in there cutting hair. And I like them decorated. Lots of little bottles, aftershave lotions, hair tonic. When I go in there and I sit down on that chair, the one with the lever thing, make you go up and down, I want to see like 25, 30 bottles of stuff in front of me on the countertop. I want to see a lot of things. I don't watch myself in the mirror when they cut my hair. I like to look around. But that's my favorite thing, when they have a lot of items to check out. And then they have like a big TV from the 1980s or something up on the wall. Baseball game or something up there. Could be anything. But that's what I like. I like old-time barbershops and a guy working in there with at least 35 years of experience. Somebody who's been doing it for, 30, 35 years. And I can tell immediately if the person who's cutting my hair is good or if they're a bit of an amateur. If they keep going to the same spot over and over after they've done it like 5 minutes before, and they go back and they adjust and adjust, they're okay, they're not that good. I knew a good friend of mine's a barber. I still know him now, but haven't seen him in a while. Kamchatka. Been cutting hair for over 50 years. And he cuts your hair in that spot and he's done. Doesn't have to keep going back. And then he gives you a nice massage, puts a little bit of hair tonic in your hair, combs it, and you're out the door. 86 England Street. 50 years, 50 plus years. Kamchatka. But yeah, there's a few places. One time I went and got my hair cut at a place in the Italian part of town, and the guy looked like he was 85 years old. He was okay, but very slow. Felt like I was in there for like 2 hours cutting my hair, slow motion. I don't think he's still around now. And then there's another guy, Angel, in Arizona, the town before you get to Williams on Route 66. He's been there a very long time, and he's like 95 years old, still active. And I'm a big fan of the straight edge. Sharpen that right up, do your neck with the straight edge. You do it with the buzzers first, and then you get the straight edge in there. Nice warm, that machine that makes the warm shaving cream? That's what I like. If you don't have those things, then, I don't know, you lose 10 points right off the top. Like that leather belt, get that thing nice and I don't know if it really sharpens it, but it smooths down the metal. If you see it under a microscope, it creates these ridges, and that leather smooths those. They smooth down. But when I was a kid, my father would take me with him once a month, once every 2 months probably. And that guy was a pretty good barber. We'd go closing time because my father and him were friends. He knew him. And so, like, say he closed at 6. My father would go in there at like 5:55, and guy would close the door, lock it up, and we'd have the place to ourselves. He'd cut my hair first. My father always wanted to make sure the barber was up to the standard. And then after that, my father would sit down, and for me, they had that little baby chair. They would put that chair, and then I would sit there up above, and he'd give me a nice haircut. He had a little of that nice smelling cologne, very refreshing. Put it on the sides, on the top, and then I would sit down, and my father would go up next. Well, one time we were out of town vacationing for a while. This is back in 74, and my hair grew long. You know, it was kind of long, and my father's hair was long. And my mother said, "Why don't you guys go get a haircut?" So we went down the street to this place, and I noticed my father, you know, he told the guy both of us were getting a haircut, but he made me sit down first to test the guy. And then the guy cut my hair, and my father did not like the haircut at all. And the guy said to my father, "Okay, you're next." And my father goes, "I'm okay, I'm good, I don't need a haircut." And I'm thinking, you just said 20 minutes ago you needed a haircut. But when I got home and I really looked at my haircut, it was all like a step ladder. The guy did not know how to cut hair. It's almost like he opened up a place after 50 years of being, I don't know, a plumber. He decided, I think I'll cut hair now. And he had like maybe a couple of weeks experience. Awful haircut, but it grew back. So yeah, that was one of the only times where I went to a barber shop, and it came out very unprofessional looking. But yeah, Kamchatko for me is the best barber. There's other ones too. There used to be a guy many years ago. He may still be alive, maybe not, who knows. Nobody really knows, but it was called BU Barbershop. And that guy, he knew how to cut hair. I mean, he had the touch with the buzzers, with the scissors, did the little massage thing. And I would go to him all the time. And one day I went in there, and I noticed it was like a man and woman there. And for a second I go, oh, he probably went on vacation, and these are fill-ins. As if you call a number and you say, I need substitute barbers, I'm going on vacation. So they cut my hair. I was not enthusiastic about their skill. I left. I said, well, next month the other guy's going to be back. I go the next month, and I sit down, and they're there again. Door opens up, dude comes in, he wants a haircut, looks at them, and he says, what happened to, and I guess he knew his name, I don't know what his name was, the previous barber. And they go, he sold the place, we bought it, we're the new barbers here. And I said, oh, that's how it goes. And I got my hair cut there that time, because I didn't want to leave midterm, or midstream as they say. But I never went back, because they didn't cut the way you felt they should cut. It was a little bit on the amateur side. And compared to that guy that owned BU Barbershop before, it was night and day. So yeah, it's very difficult to find. I mean, there's a lot of people that cut hair, but there's only a few that have a talent for it. So, you know, that's the way it goes. But you know, when you sit down, if a guy or a woman has talent to cut hair, you feel it immediately. First time I got my hair cut by a female was so like late 80s. And so there was a place near my house, And it was the reason I didn't want to go in there is because they baby you in there. But I had no choice. I didn't want to go, I didn't feel like going far. I needed a haircut, so I said I'll try them. So I go in there, and it was a receptionist. I'm not used to a receptionist. When I go cut my hair, it's the actual barber who says sit down, or you'll be next. So there was a female there. She was all like talking breathy, and she had a book, and she said, "What's your name?" so she could put me in there for a rendezvous. And I gave my name. She wrote it down. She goes, "Oh, you'll be getting, like say Brenda or something." I said, "Okay." So I sat down, and then Brenda comes out, walking like a model, and she says, "Come with me." So I said, "All right." I didn't know the procedure, but she took me to the back where I sat in a chair, and she made my head go backwards, and she washed my hair with some rose-smelling shampoo, very rosy smelling. Very soft hands. I was used to a rougher, feel when I get my hair cut, and she was all gentle, very gentle. I almost fell asleep a few times. So she washed my hair, rinsed it, washed it again, rinsed it, and then wrapped me up in a towel. Brought me to the front, put all this, clothing, towel thing on me, put my neck inside something, and then started cutting my hair, and her hands were extremely gentle and supple, very, very, very soft. It was like very, very enjoyable, and she gave me a good haircut. And then I went again another time. I only went there probably like a few times, and then I was working somewhere, and I met this kid my age. And after a while of knowing him, he goes, "My parents own a business, haircutting business." I said, "No, I didn't know that. Where?" And he goes, and he starts describing. I go, "Oh, I've been there." I go, "You guys own that?" He goes, "Yeah, we own that." But they had all these hot women in there. You need to read ahead of time what the procedure is when you go to these places, because I had no idea. I didn't know they were going to wash me, and then carry me around, and then put me down on a seat, and then put all this nice silky stuff on me. I didn't know any of that. But like I said, the female touch was very, very comforting, very appealing. So many years later, and this is in recent times, like up until a couple of years ago before the pandemic, I would go to Vegas and get a haircut there. And they had a place in Caesar's Palace. And this is the place where they cut your hair, but they do all this, face stuff first, and they wrap a towel with warm water on your face, and they give you a little massage on the face, and all that stuff. Then they shave you twice with a straight edge razor. And first time I went, had a barber, he did it, and it was pretty good, Second time I went, it was a female, and it was night and day. It was like so smooth, and her hands were so soft. Just felt really good. And I said, I think I'm going to stick with her. So time goes by like it usually does, and we ended up there again, and made an appointment. But she was off that day, and I didn't have a choice but to go that day. And there was a dude that was there, and he started, cutting my hair and doing the massage stuff and all that. And I had mentioned to him that, he asked me if I had been there before. I said I had. And he said, "Who did you have the last time you were here?" And I said, I mentioned her name. And he said, "Oh, yeah, she's very good." I go, "Yeah, very good." And then a minute goes by, and he says to me, just out of curiosity, he goes, "Do you notice any difference between me and her in terms of our style?" And immediately I said the first thing that popped into my head, because I was thinking of this all along. I said, "Yeah, she's more gentle than you. It's more, enjoyable," I wanted to say. But I said, "Yeah, it's more gentle." And he goes, "Yeah." Because he was like rough. He was dealing with me almost like I was a carburetor. Very, but it was okay. It was okay. But when you compare it to her, she had a better, technique. So, and then I went again, and I had her, because I requested her. And then I went again and I had her again. And then I haven't been there because they've closed. So yeah, haven't been there after that. But yeah, she was very very soothing. It was almost like you had aloe vera on your face working you down. And then you get the guy, and the guy's rough. You know, fingerprints in your face after. But yeah, I like all that. I like the barbershop. That's why I like Trufford and Hill. Trufford and Hill products. You know, but if you go to a barbershop and they don't do your neck with the straight edge, you know, that's immediately 10 points down from where they should be. They should all have a straight edge, and they should be able to shave your face with that, your neck, and you know, whatever. So yeah, it's a weird tree. The branches grow downward into the ground, basically. I don't know what the point of that is, but it's a very muscular tree. And so I looked up this tree behind me. I have an app on my iPhone. You take a picture of a plant, and immediately it tells you the name and you know how to you know take care of it, and if you could eat it, if it's toxic, all of that. And this one is a California live oak. I don't know why you need the word live in there, but California live oak. It grows throughout the western United States, from California to Mexico or Mexico. It's commonly used for landscaping purposes throughout the modern United States. So it says Native Americans use the acorns from this tree here as a dietary supplement. What else? So it says it's toxic. There's toxic elements of this tree. It affects many mammals, including cats, dogs, horses. It says livestock once ingested when they would eat it, it would bother them. It can even lead to death. Doesn't say anything about humans though. Attracts birds. So I guess the reason why they call it a live oak is because during the winter time, when all the other oaks lose their leaves and become brown, this one remains like that, green. The other day when I was hiking, I came across a plant and took a picture of it to check out what it is, and it said extremely toxic, causes coma. It says if you ingest this, more than likely you'll go into a coma. So I will not be touching, well, not touching, you'd have to eat a bunch of it, you know, not just touching it will not do it. So yeah, that's and it's probably a painful coma. You wake up after and you're all feeling nauseous and awful. I don't think it's a kind where you take and you go to sleep for like 3 days. That's it. I'm the only one here. That's a good place to jump rope. Nice smooth surface. I used to jump rope a lot. You know, the thin leather with the wooden handles. I would do 3 minutes jumping, 1 minute resting, 3 minutes jumping, 1 minute resting, on and on and on. Enjoy it. You sit there jumping up and down, big clock in front of you, keep track of the time, and you know, you go into deep thought. thinking about different things. But it was good hand-eye coordination, good for the cardiovascular system. You know, it's like dancing with an obstacle. But I haven't done that in a long time. I have a bunch of ropes at home. I should have brought one in here and started jumping. Another good thing I'm noticing here, and I don't know what the laws are, good place to bring a grill and cook some steaks, some chicken, maybe even some shrimp. I mean, it's all concrete, this area, but I don't know. Might get somebody come by here and say, hey, you know, you can't do that. Although I think if you had a couple of fire extinguishers with you, then it would be okay. If anything got out of hand, you pull out the fire extinguisher and put it out immediately. Yeah, you don't realize fires, how it's like a deceptive thing. You know, you think, it's a little spot there, I'll stomp on it and put it out. And just to be clear, a lot of people, they say, you know, I've never seen you in sandals. The reason I don't wear sandals is because of that, fires. Because if something breaks out, I want to be able to stomp it and put it out immediately. With boots, you know, it's easy to do. Boom, 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 it's out. But if you have sandals and that fire gets out of control a little bit, you can't put it out. Your feet will not let you. You know, it'd be all cooking in there, burning up. So I'm not a fan of sandals. And I'm not a fan, especially sandals with socks. These men that put sandals on, but they have socks on too. I mean, I just find that ridiculous. But anyway, here is a good place to do a little bit of grilling. A little bit of grilling. Bring a table. If it starts raining right about now, this whole place will turn into a river. It's amazing how fast it floods here. All the water gathering around from the mountaintops, collecting right here. Then you got to get out of here because you'll end up going downstream. But right now it's dry. I look at the fire ants, I look at the lizards, and it's so dry here, and I wonder, how do they survive out here with no water? What do these ants drink all day? I know they're ants and they don't need much water, but you need a little bit. And they're on the sun, it's like they're baking. Bunch of lizards going around here, having a fun time. I have not seen a snake yet. Could be any minute or none at all. Sounds like metal. Like metal or something. Very heavy. You know, there's no worse thing than being lost in the forest, like Hansel and Gretel. And what happens is you end up going in circles, big, long circles, and everything starts looking the same. You go hungry, and then you end up in a house made out of candy. You knock on the door and a nice friendly old woman opens you up, and later on you realize she's trying to cook you and eat you. You know, these stories that they told children in those days, I understand that they were to kind of scare them so they didn't talk to strangers, but they were kind of creepy stories. Hansel and Gretel, you get the father remarries for some reason. We don't know what happens to the original wife. And then the stepmother realizes there's not enough food for everybody, so we got to get rid of these kids. And they bring them into the forest and all that, but they find their way back the first time. Second time, not so lucky, and they end up with a witch. And she's disguised as a nice old lady. But that's how it is in the real world. Nice people at first. They seem nice, because you can't tell at first. Everybody presents an image at the beginning. And then you realize it's a psychopath. And she tries to cook Hansel and then Gretel frees him, shoves her in the oven herself, shoves the witch in the oven, and then they escape. But they don't write those kind of stories today for children. That would be rated R, and it would be mature audiences only. Yeah, back then kids were harder. You know, they were toughened up earlier in life. But I always appreciated that story, and it did teach me to stay away from strangers, especially at that age. Getting a little warm now. I could feel the heat. I could feel the heat.